Everyone, this is Greg from Paris, France, and here is the English version of my video about GLENFARCLAS. What an iconic distillery indeed. The English version will be a bit different from the French one, mind you, because in the French one I am doing a big disclaimer which I'm gonna try to summarize in this video. It's a right to reply to a French distributor of GLENFARCLAS, so it's a bit longer in the French version. Plus, I'm also giving a perspective about French market distributing, selling GLENFARCLAS. So it was a bit longer, and I didn't want to do too many expressions in that one, also because I wanted to give a context, more context, while I believe the English-speaking viewers know a bit more about GLENFARCLAS, maybe, without disrespect to the French ones, of course. So many viewers here are there, I suppose, to hear about my tasting notes. But I understand others want to have also a bit of a context. So this is what I'm gonna try to start. However, this video will contain 5 tastings, 5 whiskey tasted, 4 out of my own bottles, and 1 sample kindly given by Menno from Malt. Thanks, my friend, again, because we're swapping and offering samples every now and then with him and also other people. What else? Yeah, starting by the start, this is a family-owned distillery, but not right from the beginning. 1836 is what is written on the tubes, on the packaging, on the bottles. But the family ownership is only from 1865. Now, what happened is in 1836, the distillery was founded by Robert Hay. What did I want to? So many informations. As for Springbank, I have to warn you that despite this is a long video, and this one is going to be long as well, I didn't really even scratch the surface about what I have to say about both Springbank and GLENFARCLAS, because there's so many things to say, because it touches history of whiskey, it touches production of whiskey and choices about production that specific. And also it touches a comparison with other iconic brands, etc., etc. So it's endless, and also I have tasted so far, if I'm not mistaken, 48 expressions of GLENFARCLAS, 39 official ones, and 9 indie bottlings. So there are a lot of notes on my website, but not all of them. There are also some mentions in some previous videos of mine, but I'm gonna try here to speak mostly about those 5 whiskies, and also a bit about another one that I tasted, but I don't have the bottle, unfortunately. So yeah, so 1836, so Robert Hay buys a distillery. Then at that time it was very, before 1883 it was an illicit distillery, right, like many others in the Speyside and elsewhere. And yeah, it's a Speyside distillery, forgot to mention that. So it begins, it was a farm that was given to the Recherlerish, sorry for the pronunciation, family, so they were farmers. But it's only when John Grant buys the distillery in 1865 for £511. How about that? That the story family own really began. Here's a book by Dave Broom. I have others. Recently acquired one. I'm gonna speak about books in again an update in another video. Here's what John Grant looks like, and here's what the team looked like in the late of 18th century, and also what looked like the old label of the 15. When I mean old, it's rather 1985 distillation. I had the chance to try a Glenfarclas 15 years old at 3 different eras: 1975, 1985, and 10 years after, 1995, I guess, for the one I'm tasting here. Lots of things to say again, but we might come to that. History-wise, so John Grant buys the distillery, then his little son, also in French, arrière-petit-fils. Sorry if I mistake on family roots. It's a bit complicated sometimes for me. So takes over the production. Now they're very rare family-owned distilleries in Scotland and in the world. The other one, which belongs to a family group, Springbank, obviously. That's why I did a natural connection between those two. Also because another thing, like very little distilleries in Scotland, it uses direct fire stills. So the stills are directly fired under the pot by not what you could expect, coal, etc. The only distillery I know in the world, I'm not mistaken, that still uses coal to fire, they burn coal to fire the stills, is Yoichi. So in a way, Yoichi is the Japanese distillery from Hokkaido, is maybe the most genuine archetypal old Scottish distillery of the world than any other in Scotland, if you see what I mean. Sorry if it's a bit confused. So they use gas nowadays, or I think it's up to the probably 70s or later on. They use Glenfarclas, Macallan, Glenfiddich. Macallan has changed, but Glenfiddich, Springbank, they use gas to fire the stills. Now what else? I'm not going to tell you all the story. The website explains quite well the story. They use remagers also to do more copper contact, to favor more copper contact. Stills, I'm not sure I have pictures of the stills. I posted one. There's an old still outside the distillery and in my Instagram, because I was there, but unfortunately due to a very hectic schedule and prepared journey, I didn't have time to visit, so I just took a few frustrating pictures from the outside, but it looks beautiful with that really Asian-like pagoda, which features in some very limited releases, super luxury a few years ago. It looks like Carriza was bottles, but they are Glenfarclas bottles. Anyway, us mortals will probably never try this. What else? I will have to do the disclaimer now, but we'll get to this. So many things to say, so many things to say. Production, before I get to the disclaimer, or I do the disclaimer first and then go back to production, sorry. Some time ago, I have a whiskey website and a painter's website. On my whiskey website, mainly in French, but most of the tasting notes have been translated, even in short summaries. And I have a big topic about Glenfarclas, which I had the chance to try some expressions. 48 is not big, compared to Valentin, etc., of course, but still you can have an idea with around almost 50 whiskies. I did a topic, I explained the choices of production regarding maturation, and the French distributor Malherbesse from Bordeaux complained about some statement I did because I was ambiguous about the core range, and I said that not all the casks used for the core range were of sherry, but some of them were bourbon. Okay. I also did another statement which I will come shortly about. But about this first statement, I have to give a right of reply to the French distributor who reached to me and complained about that. And to put a long story short, he said, and he had the info from the producer, that 100% of the production of the core range, that was the main difference, because I know for a fact that my first bottle is not 100% of made of sherry, so and others are tried, and we have evidences in Whiskey Base and other places, and also from critics. So the core range, this is the only distinction that can be made for me. The core range is using 100% sherry casks. Now, which type of casks, that is different, and which quantity of first fill, second fill, third fill, fourth fill casks, this is another topic for which I never had an answer, let me tell you. Because on the other hand, and that's what I guess was unpleasing the distributor, is that I gave away a bit of a secret that I was given away by an ambassador from the distillery in a French show. I don't want to give the name to make things awkward and complicated for the person, but as I was asked by the producer, the distributor, who was it, I think I told the exact name, and I can still tell it in private. But yeah, I didn't want to do prejudice to that person, which I appreciate, which has changed now. The person has changed company, but the person did work for Glenfarclas and was an insider. So the person told me that basically, and I think it's important, and it's an exclusive info I gave on my website and I give you here, is that for the core range they use a fourth fill sherry cask in the proportion of around 25% of the final recipe. So all these, except, to make things clear, except the last sample, the last whiskey we're going to try, are single malts, but they are a choice of several casks blended together. They're not small batches. There's only the first one that gathers two casks together, 13 and 14. But other than that, the 15, the 17, and the 185 are a mix of casks, and I don't know how many, but I mean for the 15 and 17 probably 1,000 or more. Less for the 185 because it's a small batch and we know the number of bottles. But for there's still a blender at work. The blender did consider that he had to use fourth fill cask. It's not prejudice. It's not. There's nothing to be ashamed of, etc. That's not the point. The point is that to maintain a decent price quality, and we're going to see that, you don't have first fill sherry only in the core range, even if, like I was told by this ambassador, the more you get into the core range up to the 25 years old, then after it changes, the less you're going to have fourth fill casks. because it has a cost. It's simply there's two problems: the problem of cost, the problem of balance. Why not use only first fill sherry cask or first fill and second fill? It's because the sherry might be overpowering the balance of the whole whiskey, and it might also hide the distillery character. So that's why, to temper the sherry, they use second, third and fourth fill sometimes. In the whiskey industry, I know it for a fact from John Glaser, my friend who gave me a training course and explained to me a lot of things over the years, that some distilleries do use up to sixth fill cask, which is almost neutral cask, inactive, let's say. The interaction between the distillate and the in my experience and the cask starts to decline after the third, and is quite weak but still active a bit in fourth fill. It's very, very tiny, the oak influence on the fourth fill. After that, it's considered as not very honest by many producers to use fifth and sixth fill. So and even some distilleries like Balblair only states, and I visited it, states using only one first and second fill. So Glenfarclas and Macallan in the past were associated with, that's my point, were sherry monsters, sherry bombs, etc. It's no longer true, except for some ranges, some specific limited releases, in which, and I tried some, there are still sherry monsters, as they say. But so that's the first point, and that's probably breaking some of your dreams or some of your thoughts and prejudices about the brand. So this doesn't mean, sorry to be a bit long, this doesn't mean it's bad, but it's just that you won't have here on the table, except maybe for the last one that I haven't tried. I'm going to discover with you Menno's sample, by the way. He told me something, but I don't want to give it away, but we'll see what it looks like, sound like, tastes like. Now, I've been quite long on the intro, so I'll be back to the distillery. Some things you might know, it's they use three pairs of stills, so it has 6 stills, direct fire, like I said. There's a 16.5 semi-lauter tun, which so for the mash tun. Semi-lauter, that means it doesn't completely do the 360 turn from the things that are inside to avoid the wash, to get more compact, and so to make it more clear. There are 12 washbacks made of stainless steel, and the fermentation times varied from 60 to 106 hours. What else can I say after that? Yeah, this is on that page here how the core range looked like 10 years ago, and this is for the second part of the core range on the right here, how it looks like still today. And I will just tell you what's in the core range. You have an 8 years old, which I haven't never seen here, but they say there's an 8 years old. Doesn't show on the website, as I remember, which for the core range restrains it to way less whiskies. There's obviously a 10 years old. I recently learned through a whiskey writer that the 10 years old is not made of Oloroso sherry. That's also another point. Not all are Oloroso, if I understand. And the 10 years old, which I haven't got left, this is all what's left of my bottles, could be made with Amontillado sherry. Hence the quite light also color and different taste, which close to bourbon. That's maybe mistake me maybe about the content. There's a 12 years old, a 15 years old we're going to try here, a 17 years old which is not already mentioned. The ABVs are different, I will come back to it. 21 years old, 25 years old, and then there are more limited releases of the 30, 35, 40 years old that had the chance to try. 50 years old even was, I think, last year released. Then there are some cheaper expressions which are called heritage or private reserve, which are both n.a.s, no age statement. I had a heritage 1995, long time ago. It was not even 7 years old, I think, something not more than 7 years old. I really struggled with that one, I have to say. And of course there's the 105, like some say, cask strength, I would say, because it's probably rounded to 60% ABV. And of course there's the Family Cask range. Family Cask range was something that was launched in 2007 with at that time 43 different single casks to highlight the distillery quality of casks. Vintages for the so far for the Family Cask are 1954 to 2007. There have been also Family Trunk, a crazy thing of 100,000 pounds for those who won at the lottery and love so much GLENFARCLAS, composed of 50 mini bottles, 20 cl, of vintages from 1954 to 2003. You can find that online, with lots of goodies in it, a copy of the oldest painting ever made about the distillery, showing the painting, notebooks from George Grant, which I had the chance to meet only a few times at Whiskey Life Paris, glasses, etc., all kinds of stuff. Now, before we start, I'm going to tell you, because we're going to try a Family Cask to finish on, we have to. Unfortunately, I don't have any Family Cask in my collection. So yeah, it's a shame, I know, but the prices have been going up until I decided myself to buy, and it was too late. Here is my favorite Family Cask whiskey, which was a special, to show you how it looks like. It was a special bottling for the Whisky Shop Dufftown. This one, let me show you. Here's what it looks like. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to start do this now. So Family Cask, this one is sometimes comes with a wooden box, sometimes with a cardboard box, like here. So this one was a 40 years old, bottled in 2011. It was cask 1767, first fill sherry, 496 bottles, natural cask strength of 51.4. The rating from me was 97.5 out of 100. Yeah, and in English, beyond any category, it's a stunning one. Other than that, I had the chance to try a 47 years old, 47 or 49? Yeah, 47. 1960 vintage of GLENFARCLAS. Oh no, I mistake. Yeah, okay, sorry. Also 1990, which is one of the very best I ever tried. Was only a 21 years old, but absolutely stunning. Single cask number 5099, 56.9 ABV. What else? The Old Core range, the Dumpy Square bottle, 15 years old, distilled in 75, non-chill filtered. The only case with those, of course, when there was a core range which was non-chill filtered. Now they're all apparently chill filtered. Color we don't know. And also the 15 years old oval label, which I have a bottle of, but believe me or not, I cannot find it in my reserve because it's most probably too much buried under a lot of stuff. I apologize, but this is probably a bottle. There's another case of there's an old Nika as well, which I found while I'll be moving from here. Again, a longer intro than I thought, so we're gonna jump right away. In the first bottle, we're gonna try. This is 7 years old. Then a 15, 17, the 185, which is no statement, and then we're gonna close with the Family Cask of. Is it 7 years old? Yeah, no, we'll see that later on. Belgian exclusive release at 60.5 ABV. That's why it's for the end. So this is a special bottling, exclusive. We'll see how exclusive it is, because it was a big surprise for me while preparing this video. This is supposed to be a French exclusive store pick of 2 casks, and it's a special commemorative bottle for the 700th anniversary of the Battle of Bannockburn. Yes, yeah, long story. I won't tell you now. You can Google it and you will know all those terrible battles of the old times. 46% ABV, casks number 13 and 14. It's the name of the whiskey, casks 13, 14, and the sub-name, nickname is Commemorative Bottling, blah, blah, blah. So this was an exclusive, said to be an exclusive release for Lavinia, which is a French small channel of retailers, very small and very dedicated to whiskey and rum, for instance, store picks. But what was a bit awkward is when I found out on Whiskey Base that this so-called exclusive release was also with the same cask numbers. Now, reservations, it's people. Whiskey Base, it's most of the time people posting their whiskies. So there might be mistakes, etc. But let's say we trust those people who bought the bottles, took the pictures and put them into this huge database, that they were of goodwill, especially when they provide back label pictures where you can see it's another store pick. It's a store pick for another shop, but it's the same cask numbers. So what's going on there? So the same as this has been proposed to sold to Stirling Whisky Shop, so in Scotland, and to Lavinia, which is in France, another big shop, even if there's been some trouble recently. So what's going on with this? How far it is exclusive? I don't think it's exclusive, or exclusive to 3 shops or maybe more. 700 bottles is the number with the reservation I found online. Now prices, it was a gift from a friend, but this was supposed to be priced around 78 euros, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, so I don't have the recipe of this. It's a quite clear color. What can I say? Yeah, the cork broke as often here, unfortunately. So I have this from 2015. The cork broke 2 years after, so I have to replace it. That's why it looks like this, and not typically like this, or the most branded one for some releases, like this famous symbol that you can see also on the tubes. See, John Grant, sorry. So tribute to the founder, but we're gonna come back to it for one of the expressions. So there you have the liquid. As you can see, it's half. It's in around half. So quite clear. For me, it's light acacia honey color. So pale yellow, if you know. The legs are not sticking along, but it's quite low. It falls gently. There's probably some filtration, but it's not huge. I guess they're doing a sweet GL filtration, but maybe not under 0. Some distilleries do. It's another topic, I know. Okay, let's go to the nose. Yeah, so this one is quite bright, light, and vivid, and there's something almost acidic coming on. There's some oak in every single Glenfarclas you're gonna try. There's some strong oak note, but it's different from the new oaks that you get from young distilleries. It's something that has some life before you get it on the, if I may say. Yeah, I wanted to talk more about sherry, but it will be for another video. Will there probably be 0 tasting, or maybe 3 or 2? Because it's too complicated, too long, and too controversial topic as well. So this one is probably also with not only a low rose of sherry and probably a lot of second, third feel. I suspect also some other type of sherry than Oloroso in this one, but we don't have. Do we have some details? No. It's not the most transparent. I'm sorry, guys, if you don't like this video from Glenfarclas. This is not the most transparent distillery, I have to say. This is a bit of difference with Springbank and others. Yeah, so some esters, but some trace of sherry, like exactly second and third, maybe some other kind of sherry. There's some fruitiness, but goes towards not exotic, but yellow fruits, if I may say, orchid fruits, but it's not as some are probably tinned. There's a feeling like get close to Old Pulteney 12, but minus the kind of coastal thing and all these tea thing that's very Old Pulteney, tea-ish notes. You don't have them here. Don't know what to say else about the nose, so let's go to the palate. Sluncheval. So this one is getting better. The opening was a bit disappointing. Not the opening, but second sip, second, third, and fourth. It's only up to almost a half of the bottle, and getting really to enjoy it as it is, as a starter, as a young whiskey. Again, it's 7 years old. So on the palate, we have a combo. Let's say we have some vanilla, but we have some candied, more tinned fruit, conserve in French, fruits en conserve, you know, like apricot and peach, but in syrup, so with liquid sugar, if you prefer. So it's rounded. It's not as fresh fruit as you could expect, but still good. I mean, it's not. What else? Bit of honey, bits of light herbal notes. Herbal and grassy is also a characteristic of Glenfarclas. Besides, forgot to mention, it's a distillery which is very close to Mount Rhinus. Ben Rhinus. Ben Rhinus. Ben is mountain in Gaelic, and in Gaelic, Glenfarclas means, by the way, Valley of the Green Grassland. So you see, farm place more than anything else. Before there was distillation. So on the palate, I also noted some sweet spices, some tiny, but it's gone now, some tiny spirity note. It's a bit annoying with the young Glenfarclas. It's a note I don't like. It's kind of spirity and sometimes a bit musty as well. There was a note of chili pepper that's gone now. There's some wet wood, but it's not obvious. Let's put a few drops. But overall, it's a nice but uncomplicated, not super complex, so I rated it 83.5. I won't go more than that. I know it's probably sold out, and you might say, why Greg is talking about us, talking about a French store pick in the English video instead of the French one. Why? Because I wanted to show you what is a very young Glenfarclas. I haven't tried the new make. You can see once again in Dave Broom Atlas, World Atlas of Whiskey. He tried every single new make of Scottish distilleries. Very interesting notes. It's the only book about that. I've tried quite some new make myself, but I haven't tried Glenfarclas. I have a few samples left to try of new makes, but I'm not sure I have Glenfarclas. I should have maybe double checked before. I'm almost sure I don't have it, but I have some interesting ones. If I'm not mistaken, I have an Aran, I have an Edredar, I used to have a Bowmore that was very interesting. Now we're gonna go to the iconic, probably the most iconic, comes with that tube showcasing the distillery. So again, like Springbank, cheap, decent but cheap packaging, which also explain with the use of refill sherry, okay, why it's not super expensive, even if those last year's prices going up for many Scotch whiskies and many whiskies. But this is one of the reasons, along with Springbank, so I think that was nice, fitting nicely in the theme, why you can have decent product with not a tons of marketing and press, etc. It's Glenfarclas is almost the anti-Macallan product, if I may say. So it's a brand really for people who like whiskey. So we're gonna move to the 15. So now I know, and you can complain, this is a release from 2011. I have tried one or two more recent, but not in the last 2 or 3 years. They were pretty decent and not too different from this one, so that's why I'm still reviewing this. This is a typical contemporary Glenfarclas, 15 years old. This one is at 46%, while the next one will be a 43%. But I prefer to try this one before to give retro comparisons. This one is 46 because John Grant wanted this one to be at 46. He preferred this at 46. The entry level are lower ABV, 10 and 12, let's say, for the ones we can have now. So this one was priced 49.5 euros in 2011 when I got it at the Comptoir Irlandais, which is a big channel of shops with a lot of, not only Irish, but it says Irish counter, but a lot of Scotch whiskies you can find there. 46%, doesn't say about chill filtering and color, so we will be assuming for all the range except, once again, the Family Cask that we are chill filtering and we are coloring, probably, but not sure. Okay, so there's also French import by the guys I talked previously, Malherbessa. Okay, so this is the liquid, and as you can see, there is also for sure in that one, and it's darker, even if it can be coloring. There can be coloring. Legs are not sticking very long, but still a bit. It's not super oily. Now on the nose you have typical Glenfarclas profile. So There's something nutty. When I say nut, I mean walnut. Something chocolatey, a bit of hazelnut as well. Almost a tiny touch of chestnut, but so there's this big malty, chocolatey, but it's quite different from Tamdu and Glengoyne, for instance, because there's this big, how can I describe that? There's something that's a mix of, it's very difficult to describe, musty plus rancho. Rancho is the oxidative notes you get with sherry and regular wine when aging, and all the oxidation taking place, and all this some kind of also connotation of forest notes, mushrooms, wet moss, etc. So this gives a very unique profile that often you can recognize when tasting it blind. So there's this, I have candied fruit, I have also some pastry like black forest cake, or going towards brownie, but it's quite a light one in this bottle, but in some other bottles you get a stronger feel of it, in other expressions, casks as well. So pretty decent, pretty good nose. Let's go on the palate. There's the oak now, but super integrated, so elegant, structural but not overpowering oak. The oak is deeply married with dark chocolate, with raisins, with a tiny bitter, also other layer of dark chocolate. There's also there's walnut again, there's some nutmeg, there's almost some, there's a nut bread feel to it. I don't really have cherries, but it's just a slight hint on the background of soaked in maraschino cherries. It's not winey, but you can feel it comes from Oloroso or sherry, so it's a really great nose. Let's go on the palate. Sorry, second sip, I mean. Yeah. Also, something which is old school sherry, not super expressive there, but in some other it does. Like for some good old days Macallan, there's a tiny note of waxiness, and just a second. Okay, just looked at the translation and I feel very stupid because it's the exact same words, which seems weird. Parquet ciré in French, waxed parquet. Parquet, it's when you have a traditional wooden ground on your house, and it's I mean taken care of with waxing it on regular basis. So there's a very weird, highly estery feel on the nose of it. So it's very strong. It can be heady and causing I mean unpleasant feeling. Here it's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 1. On the old Macallans and some old Glenfarclases, it could be an 8 or 6. To give you an idea, for those who like Hamden, super high estery profile, on that scale it could be 20 out of, I mean on a scale of 10 it could be 20 or more. So this is very light, very light feel of waxiness, of a wax parquet feel. But this is true Speyside. With a little water, it brings a bit of that very tiny winey side, sherried. But most of all, you have on the ground always that walnut note that is really typical from GLENFARCLAS. Right. I'm sorry, it's gonna be an hour video again. Problem is, if I do 2 or 3 videos, I know the time I upload them, you will be really have to wait. Sorry. We're getting to the 17 years old now. 17 that you don't hear a lot about, I have to say. This one is 43% instead of 46. But the profile is quite different, or partly different. This one is more heavily filtered, if I may say, or more chill filtered at a lower temperature, in my opinion, because legs are not sticking much. It's also 43% feel. Mix of the two. Let's go on nose. And again, I have to change sheet in order not to mistaken. This one, I got it at around 48 euros instead of 62 on an offer. Not an offer, but something like that. I had a credit, so I have to not to lose the credit to use for that. I don't know the price nowadays. I've noted somewhere. No, I haven't noted. Oh, for the 15, sorry. I see prices from 75 to 100 euros, so very weird different prices on the 15. I mentioned in the French video there's currently an offer in France, but I'm not sure it's gonna last. Of and I didn't spoke about a 105, sorry. With a full bottle of 15 plus 2 minis, one of the 25 years old and one of the 105. So very interesting offer for 75 euros, where the bottle alone is sold at the same place as a 99. Weird. 105, I haven't tried a recent one. If I get to try, I will talk to you more about it. I only tried old expressions, even the one with some kind of silk screen on it. So stunning stuff, but it was not as heady, spirity as some of the early 2010 I tried, which I didn't like. That's why I don't have a bottle. But batch variation occur, so there might be some great ones today. It's a version that's in high praise, so probably there are very good batches now, but I can't talk more about it for the moment. The 17 is way more on the milk chocolate and pastry side, right off the bat. That's I always noticed, except at the beginning it was more heady and powerful on alcohol. I also have to mention, despite the semi-opaque brown glass, it's a bit lower than the half. Yeah, can't even see. Level wise, I use the pump to put the air out of it instead of gassing. Now I'm not gassing too much nowadays because I don't drink often of those, or I drank more in the past. The 15 is because I enjoy it. I don't want to buy another bottle storage wise, but I should at some point. Pretty much like on the nose. This one is rather simple but very good. Milk chocolate, Swiss chocolate, which is often made of, as I understand, of milk chocolate. Sweet spices. There's a light sherriness, but it's more malty, Ovaltine, etc. coming across. Maltesers, it comes across more chocolatey, malty than typically sherried with the raisins and all that jazz, the figs, the prunes, etc. It's not like that. It's almost a desserty This one leans a bit towards Tamdu, but not completely. The Tamdu 10, I mean. But this one is, despite 43, it's quite expressive and balanced. But it gives another idea of Glenfarclas. Very nice. Score-wise, I had to lower it probably, but it's too late to note it now because the profile has changed a bit, but I remember it. So I put it at 91 for some reason, and a 15. Oh, 92. Ooh. Not sure I will give this score now, but 91 maybe, but it's an old bottle. Not sure how I will rate it now on a new bottle. Okay, we're going now to maybe the highlight of the day, for which I chosen a bigger glass. This one was released in 2021. It's a 185th anniversary limited release, so you can see with the nice old labels of Glenfarclas displayed all around the tube. You can see how it did change from oval. You can also see 104, which I never heard about before I saw this, etc. How did the labels change over the years? So quite nice idea. The back label weirdly shows the distributors around the world. Europe or world? Not clear. European distributors, I think. Very weird. Why not? Again, simple packaging, a bit upgraded. Why did I bought this? Because, to make put a long story short, it did announce there were 6 decades of Glenfarclas in it, from 1950s to say 2010, something like that. So this is very interesting for me as for my blender's cap. This showcases different sides of the distilleries. But with this, you can be sure, even if it's 1, 2, 3% of the 50. Let's be honest, I bought it around 140 euros last year. If it was 50% content of very old, it will be 400, 500 or more euros. So yeah, you can find it from 140 to 200 and more online. There were 6,000 bottles of this only made. What I did found, and I have to give this with some reservation, but on the website of Must Have Malt, so I sourced this statement from the website. So I don't know. Don't sue me, please, Glenfarclas. They said in that website it's made from 2/3 of the final content of Spanish sherry oak. Doesn't say if the 1/3 left is from American oak or from another kind of type than sherry. We don't know, I don't know, so I'm not gonna tell you it's not sherry. Now, what I can tell you is my opinion, and on my opinion, this, which I find very good. First off, it's not a sherry monster, so if you're looking for that, you can leave the video sorry, right away. It is not for you. This is for people who have patience and who love old school Glenfarclas style, with all that subtle oak influence, subtle spice, and subtle herbal and tiche and leather and stuff like that profile. So it is not for someone who is in a rush to get a sherry monster, right? I think I made it clear. Larger glass. Sorry, it's a Glenlivet glass, not a Glenfarclas glass. I don't have a Glenfarclas glass. Have yet to visit the distillery. Super sticky legs, staying a long time. I don't know if you see them. I'm sorry, it's difficult, I know. So it's also a light color. My guess for this one, after several tries, is it's probably majority of this is around 12 to 20 years old. Vast majority, but I believe, because I tried very old Glenfarclases, I believe there's some significant amount. I don't know how much, 20%, 30%, but yet it counts if you know what is a blending work of old stuff. I guess 30, 40 years old, it shines. Okay, so let's go on the nose. It changes. That's very interesting how it evolves. I believe maybe I review it too soon. I will come back to it most probably on video on maybe on a theme of retrying some of my bottles, something like that, with 2 or 3 bottles only, to see how they evolve. This is very melted. This is very subtle. This is not a super explosive Glenfarclas so far. Very balanced, I noted very nice oakiness, some dark fruit, some old style sherry, a lot of dunnage, musty notes, feeling that it comes from the oldest warehouses. Also, what did I write? Yeah, some caramel and flowers coming on, a very subtle one, not giving away too much on the nose. Let's go on the palate. Wow, it's getting better. Wow, it's getting better each tasting. Again, very subtle. Very subtle. Just a second. Okay, we'll give you the rating, but it's a still for this one, it's still a temporary rating, mind you. I will give you. So on the palate, you got everything I said about the 15, but subdued. Yeah, I know. But you get a lot of depth. And instead, some very tiny, very balanced, very mixed in everything else, tiny of notes of leather, of old books. And I know what is, because I work in a library, I know, and I did work in several libraries with old stuff. I know what is old books smell. So you have that, the old library, you have tiny notes of leather, very powdered chocolate, if I may say. Yeah, I have some raisins. There's some mixed complex tea notes coming in. Bergamot, black tea, Earl Grey, but very tiny, very subdued, very discreet. Everything is discreet here. And on the background you have this dark chocolate. You have, by the way, forgot to say, and I did deliberately uncap everything, this needs 15 minutes in the glass to breathe before you drink it, at least. So yeah, everything is super tiny. One regret, I regret that, you'll be surprised by this statement. At this stage, I know it will evolve, I regret that it doesn't have a bit more first fill and second fill younger casks. Yeah, you could be surprised, because I feel it lacks a bit of kick even at 46. A bit of a kick, but the blender in me is still happy because it's super balanced and super complex. Just added 2 drops. You can feel the blender's dilemma here about old casks, because there is no obvious bitterness in there. But I tried a 1960 Family Cask, which was, I mean, very good, 47 years old, very good, but on the verge of being too oaky for me and for many people. That's why it's very good, but it's not my favorite Glenfarclas, the 60. By far, I prefer the 71 I showed you before. This one is staying between the two, but I believe has a majority of, I would guess, third fill and some fourth fill, some second fill. I see almost no first fill share in this one. I might be wrong. So it kind of reminded me of some Armagnacs I recently opened that has a finishing in a tired cask, as they say in France, épuisé, tired cask finish, which is weird. So it's got a dusty, kind of dusty note. This is more obvious and different from this one. This one is double distilled, obviously, so it's different. But yeah, for now I cannot say more about this one. 91 is a temporary score. I was expecting a bit more. I wonder if it's not gonna come, so I'm reserving things, my final thoughts for later on. Nice one, but only for connoisseurs. I don't recommend it for people who are used to the 15 and will ask for more oomph and stuff like that. And no, it's not for you so far. Okay, folks, hope you're still there. Anyway, I will put timestamps, because I know this kind of very long videos loses a lot of people for my channel. It's societal almost, but it's how I feel it. Comparisons. Could have cut this in 3, but what's the point if you cannot compare so much? So again, thanks to Menno from Multi-Mission. Check out his blog. I forgot, I should put, if I have the room, a link to his great blog. So this is a sample of a Family Cask. Like I said, again, for those who don't know, Family Cask looks like that. So this is Family Cask vintage 2007, bottled in the 20th of January 2016. Special release Single-Cask 1845 cask number. First fill sherry, but this time 411 bottles, 60.4 ABV. That was bottled for Bev, which is a contraction of Belgian beverages. It's 9 years old, and if you want to check out whiskey base, it's number 85,674. Right. For this one, I'm trying it for the first time with you. True. It's quite dark in color, obviously. For once, almost darker than I see it now, but for the camera it's sort of the same. So it's a very nice mahogany color with a orangey. Oh no, it's still light orange hues. This one, of course, is ticking away more. It's 60.5 ABV. It's 9 years old. So we're doing a back. We're going back, step back, age-wise, hugely, but we had to try it at last because it's the very high ABV. I won't take notes now. I will have to take notes not too far from the opening of this, but I have my shit ready. So frustrating not to note now, but I can do both. Typically dark sherry, dark fruits notes, so dried fruits, also some cinnamon, nutmeg, some not really cloves. Yeah, maybe more nutmeg than cinnamon and cloves. Slightly reminding me of the Glenlivet Nadura Oloroso, but it's warmer, darker on the fruits, and more raisins, more dark fruits, more dried fruits, and dark. We'll see on the palate. Slangeva, and again, thanks, Menno. I have some struck matches while I was swelling it note. Almost sulfury notes. So quite some sherry. Would I say it's a sherry monster? Menno told me it was not, so it did maybe influence me. I will say half, because it still comes across, maybe it's the ABV, as highly sherried. It's only first fill, it's only one cask. Every cask is different from the others, as you might know or not. Had the chance to experience that at a French distillery for which I worked, Northman, but also when I was visiting Dalmore. Yeah, I know, it was a weird visit, but it's still interesting. I need to pour me a bit more. Hope I will save enough for the review. I think so. Just a tiny, because I'm going to open it with a... Now, you know, so it's very delicate to open a sherry casked driven whiskey. So I will put just a few drops in the second sip. Slightly waxiness, lots of dust. Some dust. The body is a bit thin. I'm a bit surprised. It is, a bit dusty. The oakiness is only starting to work on the distillate, but as it is first fill, comes across strong. No, not really. It comes across, honestly, for 9 years old, it comes across way older, but not super complex. So obviously it's not that old, but maybe things will change with 2 drops, not more. So I don't know, thoughts of Menno on this. I guess he will review it soon, or did I miss the review? Dark chocolate, the brownie side I was talking about way before is coming back. That brownie side, I had it on the 15. I didn't have it on the 185. Didn't have it at all at the 17 and on the first one. So 15 years old, and this showcasing a delicious note of brownies. You know, not the industrial one, the one that just out of the oven for you at the bakery, at because it's not often you see that in France, to be honest. I've seen that in the US. Yeah, there's something really Glenfarclas-y, but also honestly could be another distillery at that stage. Speyside, I mean. Could be Bannockburn, could be not Glengrant. Oh, no, not Glengrant. There's something different. I have some very nice reminiscence of struck matches, but very sweet, that are now mixed with a dark chocolate, mixed with a kind of wood smoke coming in as well. Yeah, strange. I almost feel now on the nose there's something of an old bourbon that's quite tannic. Forgot to say the word. It's not really tannic, not much. This is so sherry on the nose. Again, on the nose it comes across as a 20 years old. Weird. Very interesting. Okay, let's go back with a few drops now. It's nice, but I have a very tiny mouthfeel. It's a bit frustrating. It's good, but a bit frustrating. Now, as a blender, even if I'm not a super pro, okay, what I would have done on my side, if I had access to those casks, I would have taken this plus a 15 years old cask plus, let's say, something 17, 18, and I will have picked one of those 2 or 3 other casks with way more oomph, and let's say 1 or 2 others like this one more quiet, and see what's going on to make something with more texture. It lacks a bit of texture, comes across a bit thin, but still it's nice. It's first fill sherry. I have to say the nose is better than the palate, as often in some whiskies, not always, but the empty glass is gorgeous. Gorgeous sherry. Okay, so it's the longest, I believe, video ever. Sorry. I hope you will manage to upload. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it was interesting for you. Let me know your experience with the Glenfarclas on the comment section, if you like. And see you soon for something else.